Does are going to be where the food are,
Yeah.
and big bucks are going to be where does are.
Yeah.
You know, they just go hand in hand. We planted this in the second week of July. I like to plant my food plots typically between the middle of July to the 1st of August. And you can see the foliage on top is big right now. The reason I like to plant in the summer there is because they're not too big and woody, where like lettuce, when it gets too much, it gets bitter on you, where this is like young and tender. So once we get a frost here, they'll come in and all this foliage will turn into sugars, and they'll come in and hit this. So it looks nice and lush now. Here in another week or two, when we get these hard frosts, they'll turn them, and then that's when the deer will come in to my food plot, you know, to be able to capitalize on harvest a mature buck. So I decided to put in this food plot, I put our triple threat in, and you can see this is one of the Eco-Till radishes. So again, this was planted the middle of July, and we are in the first week and a half of October. It's everything that I want. It's enough food for the deer that I have. I have about 1.5 acres here, and you can see it's enough to keep all the deer that I have in this location happy. A lot of times I get guys asking me how big their food plot has to be. That is kind of a loaded question, because if you have a lot of deer in your area, you're gonna need a bigger food plot. And if you have a smaller population of deer, then you don't need as much food for them, obviously. So from the apple fence towards the trees on this side, back to the south here, this was all planted in triple threat. And then I'll show you, I got a whole other area delegated for the grazing brassicas. And the reason I do that, when I put all these seed blends together, I want to make sure that they perform for me firsthand prior to selling them to anybody, because I know us hunters, we're all trying to get the best seed. And in here, I always obviously focus on pH of soil first, and then soil fertility and fertilizer using the food plot 844. This is about 1.5 acres. So I put around 1,200 pounds of 844 out here. Again, I address the soil. Without food in the ground for these plants, I won't have this well of a stand if they run out of gas halfway through. You know, and I know people have heard me talk about why food plot do over triple 19 or triple 12 or urea. The reason food plot do is better is this is pretty sandy ground out here. You know, this ground used to grow potatoes. So if anybody knows farming, potatoes typically grow in sandier soils. So we're in the same area, and as using the food plot do, it helps build that soil up and help build that organic matter up. And also there's minerals in food plot do that we do. So these are loaded with minerals, and now we're helping the does, we're helping the fawns, and of course what we're all after is helping that big buck get the minerals back into his digestive system so it can grow and have the nutrition to grow that huge rack that we're all looking for. This is, in my right hand here, this is part of the grazing brassica, and you can see it's a hybrid. It's purple top turnip and a radish. It's a hybrid seed that I like to put in the grazing brassica. And you can see you get the big foliage on there, plus you get a whole nother variety. You know, if anybody's heard me talk, they've heard me say, deer are just like you and I. We do not eat the same thing every day. Okay, these guys are grazing animals, and some days they're gonna like the hybrid turnip and radish, and then some other days they're gonna like another seed that I put in the grazing brassica that's a lot more foliage. And you can see the size of that. You know, this will feed them through that October, November, and then come into late November into December, January, and February. This is where we do this. And as we're all hunters, and we know that, just because we plant these food plots, obviously to harvest deer over, we're doing this for the better health of the animal for 12 months. So as we can put things in the ground that they can continue to go back and paw and feed on, we'll keep the does happy, the pregnant does going into spring. And then again, by using the 844, there's minerals in there, and that will help drive those minerals into these plants, and then of course the deer will get it. It's just like you and I. What we eat is what we put in our body to be healthy or not healthy, and the deer are the same way. So these are 2 in the grazing brassica blend, which is behind me, and again I sectored off part of my food plot to make sure that it's performing, the deer eat them. And I was hunting last night and had a phenomenal herd of deer come through here, and does and fawns. And it was funny, I watched a fawn come through here, and I can only see the top third of its back. This is so tall right now. And again, this was planted in the middle to the end of July, and we're into the first week and a half of October here. So exciting stuff. I just can't wait for frost to happen so I can start pulling them big mature bucks in here after these does that I have kept happy all year. So more to come.